A woman feels drawn to a man who owns his presence, speaks with purpose, and keeps an air of mystery. Stay grounded, lead with intention, and give selective attention. Master yourself, challenge her growth, and inspire her soul. She'll feel a magnetic pull she can't resist. Owning your presence is about walking into a space and shifting the energy without saying a single word. It's not about being the loudest voice in the room or wearing the flashiest clothes. It's about a quiet, unshakable confidence that makes people notice you effortlessly. When a man owns his presence, he doesn't chase attention. It comes to him naturally. Women are drawn to this because it signals strength, security, and self-awareness, qualities that are deeply attractive on a subconscious level. Your presence is a combination of body language, energy, and self-belief. When you step into a room, the way you hold yourself says more than your words ever could. Straight posture, steady movements, and eyes that are fully aware of your surroundings show that you are comfortable in your own skin. This isn't about arrogance. It's about the kind of ease that comes from knowing who you are and not needing anyone's approval to feel validated. Women can sense when a man is at peace with himself, and it draws them in because it makes them feel they're in the company of someone solid and reliable. Owning your presence also means being intentional with your actions. You don't fidget, you don't rush, and you don't seem scattered. Instead, every move you make feels deliberate. When you speak, you're not competing to be heard. You speak slowly enough for your words to land with weight. This gives the impression that what you're saying matters, and it makes people naturally pay closer attention. In conversations, you're engaged without being overbearing. You listen actively, and when you respond, your tone is calm but assured. That balance between attentiveness and confidence makes you magnetic. A huge part of presence comes from being grounded. You're not overly reactive to what's happening around you. If someone tries to provoke you, you don't get defensive or flustered. You remain composed. This steadiness communicates emotional control, which is something women deeply respect. It tells them that you're not easily shaken and that you can handle challenges without losing yourself in the process. That stability feels safe, and safety is one of the strongest emotional triggers for attraction. Another layer to owning your presence is self-awareness. You know your strengths and you also know your weaknesses, but you don't let them define you. You carry yourself as if you're already enough, and that confidence radiates through your interactions. When you're self-aware, you don't feel the need to dominate conversations or prove yourself. You simply exist as you are, and people gravitate toward that authenticity. Women are naturally drawn to a man who is fully present in the moment. This means you're not constantly checking your phone or letting your mind wander. When you're with her, she feels like she has your full attention. That focus makes her feel valued, and it amplifies the sense of connection. It's rare in today's distracted world, and it stands out more than you realize. Your appearance also plays a role in presence, but it's not about being the most attractive man in the room. It's about looking like a man who takes care of himself. Well-fitted clothes, clean grooming, and a scent that subtly lingers create an impression of a man who respects himself. This doesn't mean you have to be overly polished. It means you're intentional about how you present yourself because you understand that how you carry your physical self impacts how people perceive your energy. Lastly, owning your presence means you embody your values. You stand for something and you live in alignment with it. A man who knows what he believes in and isn't afraid to live by those beliefs is rare. Women notice when your words match your actions. That consistency makes you trustworthy, and trust is one of the deepest foundations of attraction. When you combine composure, intentionality, self-awareness, and alignment, you create a presence that doesn't just get noticed, it gets remembered. It's not about trying to impress her, it's about being so grounded in who you are that she can't help but feel drawn to you. Speaking with purpose means understanding that your words carry weight and choosing them with the same care you would use when making any important decision. When you speak, you're not simply filling silence. You're creating an impression, setting a tone, and shaping how people, especially women, experience you. Words are powerful, but when they're combined with clarity, intention, and conviction, they become magnetic. A man who speaks with purpose doesn't just talk, he communicates in a way that makes people feel his presence, even when he's silent. Women are naturally drawn to a man whose speech reflects thoughtfulness and self-control. When you speak with purpose, you don't blurt out whatever comes to mind. You filter your thoughts so that only the words that truly matter leave your mouth. This creates an air of authority because it's clear you've considered your words before you release them. People instinctively pay more attention to someone who doesn't waste words because it signals confidence and intelligence. It's not just what you say, but how you say it. Speaking too quickly can make you seem nervous or unsure, while speaking too slowly can come across as hesitant, unless that slowness is deliberate. A purposeful speaker understands rhythm. He uses pauses to let ideas sink in. He doesn't rush to fill every moment of silence because he knows silence can be just as powerful as speech. This calm delivery communicates control and draws people in, making them hang on to every word. Another essential aspect of speaking with purpose is alignment between your words and your energy. Your tone, facial expressions, and body language should all support your message. If you're telling a story with enthusiasm, your voice should have warmth and inflection, your eyes should engage, and your gestures should reinforce your point. If you're giving advice or speaking seriously, your tone should steady, your movements measured. This alignment makes you believable, and believability is what inspires trust. Without trust, no real attraction can grow. Purposeful speaking also means avoiding the trap of constant self-promotion. Women are far more drawn to a man who shares value, insight, and authenticity than one who spends his time proving how great he is. Instead of listing achievements, you share experiences in a way that makes her feel she's gaining something from the conversation, whether it's a new perspective, a deeper understanding, or simply a moment of emotional connection. Listening plays a huge role in speaking with purpose. Many men think speaking is about dominating the conversation, but in reality, it's about creating a balanced exchange. When you listen carefully, you pick up on her words, her tone, and even the things she isn't saying. This allows you to respond in a way that feels relevant and tailored to her, rather than giving generic replies. That makes her feel seen and understood, which deepens her attraction. Your choice of topics also matters. A man who speaks with purpose doesn't waste energy on meaningless gossip or shallow negativity. He brings up subjects that inspire curiosity, spark thought, or open the door to deeper conversation. This doesn't mean you have to be serious all the time. Humor can be purposeful too, when it's used to build connection or lighten a moment without undermining your presence. Confidence in speech comes from knowing your truth and not being afraid to express it, even if it's not what everyone else thinks. When you share your views calmly and respectfully, it shows that you stand by your beliefs, but also respect other perspectives. This balance between firmness and openness creates a dynamic that's incredibly attractive. It shows strength without arrogance. Finally, a man who speaks with purpose knows when to stop. You don't drag out a point just to hold attention. You end a statement when it's most impactful, leaving her with something to think about. That space you create after speaking is where the real magic happens. People remember you because you didn't try to overwhelm them with endless words. Speaking with purpose is not about rehearsed lines or artificial charm. It's about letting your words reflect the clarity and intention within you. When you master this, you don't have to fight for attention. Attention comes to you, and the woman listening feels a depth in your words that makes her want to hear more. Maintaining mystery is about letting someone see enough of you to be intrigued, but never so much that there's nothing left to discover. In a world where everyone overshares and reveals their entire life on display, mystery is rare, and rare is magnetic. A man who understands the art of mystery knows that attraction isn't just built through what you give, it's built through what you hold back. When you maintain mystery, you create space for curiosity to grow. Curiosity is one of the most powerful forces in attraction because it keeps her thinking about you even when you're not around. If she feels she already knows everything about you, her mind will move on. But if there are unanswered questions about your past, your passions, your inner world, she will keep wanting to spend more time with you, hoping to uncover the next piece of the puzzle. Mystery isn't about playing games or deliberately withholding important truths. It's about not giving away the full picture too soon. Think of it like reading a great book. You don't want the last chapter spoiled in the first few pages. When you reveal your story gradually, you give her something to look forward to. This pacing keeps the connection exciting, fresh, and unpredictable. A mysterious man carries himself with depth. His energy hints at experiences, thoughts, and emotions that aren't always obvious. Maybe you have unique skills, passions, or perspectives that you don't flaunt, but they emerge naturally over time. When she stumbles upon these layers, it feels like discovering a hidden treasure. It's not just what you do that creates mystery, it's how little you need to announce it. One of the most effective ways to maintain mystery is to keep certain aspects of your life private, not secret. Privacy is a form of self-respect. You don't tell everyone where you're going, who you're meeting, or what you're feeling at all times. Instead, you share intentionally and selectively. When a woman notices that you don't broadcast everything, it signals that you value your inner world, and she'll want to be invited into it. Your conversations also play a role. Instead of giving lengthy autobiographies about every detail of your life, focus more on asking questions, listening, and sharing bits of your story in ways that invite her curiosity. Drop hints about experiences without explaining them fully. Mention that you've been somewhere amazing or accomplished something unique, but leave space for her to ask more. That subtle withholding turns her interest into pursuit. Mystery also comes from emotional composure. A man who reacts predictably to every situation becomes easy to read. And easy to read often means easy to lose interest in. But when your emotions are measured and your response is thoughtful, it makes people wonder what you're thinking and feeling. That uncertainty is part of the allure. It keeps her wanting to decode you. Another layer of mystery is unpredictability, but in a grounded way. You're not erratic or unstable, but you're not so routine that she knows exactly what's coming next. Maybe you surprise her with a sudden adventure, introduce her to something she's never tried, or share an unexpected side of yourself she didn't see coming. These moments make her realize there's always more to learn about you. It's important to understand that mystery works best when paired with authenticity. If you create mystery by pretending to be someone you're not, it eventually falls apart. True mystery comes from living a rich, layered life, having passions, goals, and values that are deeply rooted. You're not putting on a mask. You're simply not exposing every layer of yourself immediately. When a man maintains mystery, he doesn't fear being misunderstood in the short term because he knows the right person will take the time to understand him. This patience communicates self-worth. You're not trying to impress her in one conversation. You're letting the connection unfold naturally, giving her reasons to keep coming back for more. A mysterious man leaves a woman wondering what he's doing when they're apart, curious about his next move, and excited to learn more. That sense of wonder is what keeps attraction alive long after the first spark. By keeping some parts of yourself in reserve, you're not withholding. You're preserving the magic that makes her want to discover you again and again. Emotional grounding is about having an inner stability that doesn't get shaken by every wave life throws at you. It's the ability to remain calm, steady, and centered no matter what's happening around you. For a man, this is one of the most magnetic qualities he can have because it signals strength without aggression and control without coldness. Women are deeply drawn to men who make them feel safe, not just physically, but emotionally. Emotional grounding is the foundation for that safety. When you are emotionally grounded, you don't react impulsively to every situation. You take a moment, you breathe, and you respond with clarity. This doesn't mean you suppress your emotions or pretend you don't feel anything. It means you have learned to understand your emotions, process them, and choose your response instead of letting anger, frustration, or anxiety control you. A man who operates from this place is unshakable, and that unshakable presence is incredibly attractive. A grounded man doesn't need constant validation from others to feel good about himself. His self-worth is not dictated by approval, praise, or attention. This is powerful because it creates a sense of independence and security that people can feel when they are around you. Women pick up on whether a man's confidence is self-generated or dependent on external factors, and they instinctively trust a man who carries himself with internal stability. Life will always bring challenges: stress at work, misunderstandings in relationships, unexpected setbacks. A man who lacks emotional grounding will allow these things to dictate his mood and behavior, which makes him unpredictable and unreliable. But a man who is grounded remains steady. He can experience difficulties without collapsing under them. This resilience creates a powerful sense of trust. A woman feels she can lean on him, not because he will solve all her problems, but because he won't crumble when faced with them. Being emotionally grounded also means you're not easily provoked. People may test you, sometimes intentionally, sometimes without meaning to. If you respond with defensiveness or overreaction, you lose that aura of control. But when you stay calm, keep your composure, and address situations with reason rather than emotion, it sends a message. You are in charge of yourself. That kind of emotional control makes you stand out because it's rare. Grounding comes from knowing yourself deeply, your triggers, your values, your priorities, and living in alignment with them. When you're rooted in who you are, you're not swayed by every opinion or trend. You have a clear sense of direction in life, and that certainty radiates through your presence. Women are drawn to men who know where they're going because that direction gives a sense of stability in the relationship. It's also about how you handle the emotions of others. A grounded man doesn't get pulled into every emotional storm. If someone around him is upset, instead of matching their chaos, he remains steady and allows his calm energy to influence the situation. This is especially important with women because emotions can fluctuate, and a man who can be present without being reactive creates a safe space for her to express herself without fear of escalation. Part of emotional grounding is the ability to regulate your state in high-pressure situations. This might mean staying patient in an argument instead of saying things you'll regret, or keeping your cool in moments where others are panicking. When you maintain this self-control, it shows maturity and leadership. It also demonstrates that you're not a slave to the moment. You think beyond it, which is a mark of true strength. The practices that build emotional grounding often happen in private, things like self-reflection, journaling, physical exercise, or meditation. They keep you connected to your center so that when life tests you, you're not easily thrown off. A man who invests in this inner work naturally develops an energy that is both calm and powerful, and that combination is irresistible. When you are emotionally grounded, you become an anchor. No matter how uncertain the world feels, you stand firm. This doesn't mean you never feel emotions. It means your emotions don't run your life. That stability draws people in, especially women, because it represents something rare in a world full of volatility, reliability, strength, and a deep sense of peace. Leading with intention is about moving through life with clarity, purpose, and decisiveness. It's not about being controlling or domineering. It's about creating a sense of direction and security in your presence. A man who leads with intention doesn't drift aimlessly or wait for others to dictate his moves. He knows where he's going, why he's going there, and he inspires others to move forward with him. This quality is magnetic because it creates a feeling of trust and safety, and it shows that you're someone who can be relied upon when it matters. When you lead with intention, you don't make choices based solely on impulse. You take the time to think things through, to weigh the options, and then act decisively. Indecision can be unsettling, especially in relationships, because it creates uncertainty. But a man who can make clear, confident decisions, even in small things, builds a sense of stability. Whether it's planning a date, handling a crisis, or making life choices, your decisiveness communicates competence and reliability. This kind of leadership begins with self-leadership. Before you can lead others, you have to be in control of your own life. That means setting your own standards, pursuing your goals, and holding yourself accountable to them. If you can't guide yourself, you can't truly guide anyone else. Women are drawn to men who demonstrate this self-direction because it's a sign of maturity and independence. It means you're not waiting for someone else to hand you a path. You're creating your own. Leading with intention also means being proactive rather than reactive. Instead of waiting for circumstances to force your hand, you anticipate challenges and prepare for them. You're not living in constant fear, but you're aware and ready. This forward-thinking approach shows foresight and responsibility, qualities that make others feel secure in your presence. In relationships, this type of leadership doesn't mean making every decision without consultation. It means taking initiative and guiding the connection forward while respecting her voice and perspective. For example, instead of saying, "What do you want to do?" every time you might say, "I have something planned for us." This shows that you value her experience enough to think ahead and create meaningful moments together. A man who leads with intention also takes responsibility when things go wrong. You don't point fingers, make excuses, or shy away from challenges. You own your role, find solutions, and move forward. This accountability builds immense trust because it shows integrity. Women find it deeply attractive when a man can admit when he's wrong but still keep the direction moving forward. Another aspect of intentional leadership is consistency. It's not about making one great move and then slipping into passivity. It's about showing up again and again with the same clarity and reliability. Consistency makes people feel safe with you because they know what to expect from your character, even when life gets unpredictable. The way you communicate also reflects this leadership. Your words are clear and confident without being arrogant. You explain your reasoning when necessary, but you also know when to simply guide without overcomplicating things. When you speak with purpose and follow through with action, people begin to trust your direction naturally. Leading with intention requires vision, not just for yourself, but for the people around you. You see beyond the present moment and understand how actions today shape tomorrow. In a relationship, this might mean encouraging her to pursue her passions, helping her see possibilities she hadn't considered, or creating plans for the future that include her. This vision makes her feel that she's part of something meaningful and worth investing in. At its core, leading with intention is about being the steady hand in the storm. It's about moving forward even when the path isn't fully clear, because you trust yourself to navigate whatever comes. That confidence inspires those around you to follow your lead, not because they have to, but because they want to. And when a woman feels that level of trust in you, the connection deepens in a way that is both emotional and lasting. Showing selective attention is about being intentional with where and to whom you give your focus. It's not about being cold or dismissive. It's about making your attention valuable so that when you give it, it feels meaningful. In a world where everyone is constantly distracted, a man who can focus his attention with purpose stands out. Women are naturally drawn to this because it communicates self-respect, emotional discipline, and a sense of high value. When you give your attention to everyone equally, it loses its power. People start to see it as something anyone can have, and it stops feeling special. Selective attention is the opposite. It's about reserving your focus for those who have earned it through trust, connection, and mutual respect. This doesn't mean you treat others poorly or ignore them, but you're clear about who gets the deeper layers of your time and energy. Women notice this very quickly. When your attention is scarce, they can feel it, and it naturally becomes more desirable. But the key is balance. You don't withhold attention to manipulate. You simply have standards for who gets the privilege of your focus. This communicates that you value yourself, your time, and your emotional energy. Selective attention is also about presence. When you choose to focus on someone, you do it fully. That means putting the phone down, making eye contact, and listening without mentally preparing your next reply. Full presence is rare, and when you give it selectively, it feels like a gift. If you give everyone this same level of presence without boundaries, you risk spreading yourself thin, but when you give it selectively, it carries weight. Part of showing selective attention is not being overly available. If you respond instantly to every message, rearrange your schedule for anyone, or constantly seek interaction, it can signal that you don't have your own priorities. A man with a rich, fulfilling life can't and shouldn't be available all the time. This scarcity of access makes the moments you do share more impactful because she knows you've chosen to be there rather than having nothing else to do. Your selective attention should extend to conversations. You don't need to engage in every discussion, especially ones that are negative, unproductive, or draining. By choosing where to invest your words, you're sending the message that you value your mental space. This naturally draws people who want to be part of your world because they know your attention is earned, not assumed. Selective attention also requires emotional control. If you're quick to give energy to every person who demands it, whether through flattery, guilt, or provocation, you give away your power. Instead, you choose when to engage, when to step back, and when to let things pass without reaction. This restraint shows a woman that you're not easily swayed or manipulated, which creates a sense of safety and respect. In relationships, selective attention keeps attraction alive. In the early stages, it builds intrigue because she sees you as a man with options and standards. In long-term dynamics, it prevents complacency because it reminds her that your focus is valuable and must be maintained through mutual effort. This doesn't mean playing hard to get. It means not giving constant attention out of habit, but rather out of genuine interest and connection. When you master selective attention, People feel the difference between when you're simply present and when you're deeply engaged. You create moments where your attention feels like the center of the universe, and then you return to your own life, passions, and goals. This rhythm of focus and space keeps you from becoming predictable while also making your time together feel significant. Selective attention is ultimately about living with purpose. You protect your energy, you value your time, and you give your focus to people and situations that truly matter. When you live this way, your attention becomes something rare, and in human nature, rarity always commands value. A woman who feels your attention in a selective, intentional way won't just notice it, she'll crave it. Radiating self-mastery is about carrying yourself in a way that shows you are in control of your mind, your emotions, your habits, and your impulses. It's not about being perfect or never making mistakes. It's about demonstrating discipline and self-respect in a way that's visible without you having to announce it. A man who has mastered himself gives off a silent signal that says he can be trusted, respected, and followed. Women are deeply drawn to this because it reflects strength, stability, and the ability to handle life without being overwhelmed by it. Self-mastery begins with emotional discipline. You don't let anger, frustration, or insecurity dictate your behavior. Even when you're triggered, you have the awareness to pause, breathe, and respond in a way that reflects your values rather than your temporary emotions. This restraint doesn't make you robotic. It makes you powerful because it shows that you're not at the mercy of every mood swing or provocation. Women naturally feel safer with a man who won't lash out or break down under pressure. Physical discipline is another visible sign of self-mastery. How you take care of your body says a lot about your mindset. You don't need to be an athlete or have a perfect physique, but the way you maintain your health, grooming, and energy levels communicates that you respect yourself. A man who takes care of himself physically is indirectly telling the world, I value my life enough to maintain it. That self-respect is contagious. It encourages those around you to value you in the same way. Self-mastery also shows in how you manage your time. You're not constantly procrastinating, wasting hours on meaningless distractions, or living without structure. You have goals, you make plans, and you follow through on them. Even when no one is watching, you stay disciplined. This kind of reliability is rare, and when a woman sees that you hold yourself to a standard regardless of outside pressure, it creates deep respect. Another layer of self-mastery is control over your desires. Many men are led by instant gratification, whether it's food, pleasure, entertainment, or validation. But a man with self-mastery can delay gratification in pursuit of something greater. You don't let temptations pull you away from your bigger vision. This kind of restraint sets you apart because it proves you are led by your principles, not by your impulses. Your words and actions align when you have self-mastery. You don't make promises you can't keep, and you don't say things just to please people in the moment. Integrity is a natural byproduct of self-control, and integrity builds trust faster than any charm or appearance ever could. When a woman sees that you do what you say you will do consistently, she feels she can rely on you, and that trust forms the foundation for deeper attraction. Even in social situations, self-mastery changes how you move. You're not desperate to be liked, and you don't chase approval. You carry yourself with quiet confidence, engaging with people without overcompensating or trying too hard. You can walk away from situations that don't align with your values, even if it costs you in the short term. That kind of decisiveness is magnetic because it shows you value yourself above fleeting validation. Self-mastery also involves constant self-awareness. You regularly reflect on your choices, your habits, and your results. You're willing to adjust when you see something isn't working, but you don't abandon your core principles just to fit in. This combination of adaptability and steadfastness creates a sense of balance that women find deeply attractive. You're flexible enough to grow, but firm enough to stand for something. At its core, radiating self-mastery means you live from the inside out. You're not controlled by external chaos, trends, or opinions. You're guided by your own standards. This gives you a grounded energy that people can feel the moment they meet you. When you walk into a room, you don't need to demand attention. The way you carry yourself says enough. A man who radiates self-mastery becomes unforgettable, not because he's loud or flashy, but because he represents something rare. Control in a world of impulsiveness, calm in a world of noise, and consistency in a world of instability. And when a woman senses that, she's not just drawn to you, she respects you, trusts you, and sees you as someone worth holding on to. Challenging and inspiring a woman is about bringing out her best, not through pressure or criticism, but through the standard you set for yourself and the way you encourage her to rise alongside you. It's about being the kind of man who doesn't just offer comfort, but also offers growth. A woman may be attracted to many qualities in a man, but she will feel deeply drawn to one who makes her see more in herself than she realized was there. Challenging her doesn't mean starting arguments or creating unnecessary conflict. It means not letting her settle for less than her potential. You call out her strengths when she forgets them. You push her to pursue her goals even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. When you see her limiting herself with doubts or fears, you don't just offer sympathy, you offer perspective and remind her that she is capable of more. That kind of support is rare, and it leaves a lasting impression. Inspiring her comes from living in a way that naturally motivates her. When she sees you disciplined in your habits, committed to your goals, and constantly growing, she will want to match that energy. Your ambition and focus don't just elevate your own life, they influence hers. People are deeply affected by the company they keep, and if you're striving for excellence, she'll feel the pull to do the same. A man who challenges and inspires also respects her individuality. You're not trying to mold her into a version of you. You're helping her become the best version of herself. That means supporting her dreams even when they don't directly benefit you. You take an interest in what lights her up, and you push her to invest in those passions because you know that a fulfilled woman is a radiant one. You challenge her by holding high standards for how you're treated too. You don't accept disrespect, laziness, or complacency in the relationship. Not because you're demanding, but because you believe both of you deserve a connection that thrives, not one that merely survives. Your presence makes her want to show up fully, just as you do. Sometimes challenging her means being honest when it would be easier to stay quiet. If she's making a choice you know will hurt her, you speak up, not in a way that tears her down, but in a way that reminds her of her worth. That honesty may be uncomfortable in the moment, but it builds a deeper bond because she knows you're someone who won't just tell her what she wants to hear. Inspiring her also means showing resilience in the face of challenges. When life gets difficult, you don't crumble or become bitter. You adapt, learn, and push forward. That strength is contagious. She sees how you navigate adversity, and it makes her believe she can face her own struggles with the same courage. The balance between challenging and inspiring is key. If you only challenge her without inspiring her, it can feel like criticism. If you only inspire without challenging, it can feel like empty encouragement. But when you do both, you create a dynamic where she feels supported yet motivated, loved yet pushed toward greatness. You also lead by example when it comes to personal growth. You invest in learning, developing skills, and becoming better than you were yesterday. This tells her that growth is a lifelong process, not a phase. When she sees you actively working on yourself, she understands that she's with someone who will never stop evolving, and she'll want to grow alongside you. At the heart of challenging and inspiring her is genuine care. You push her because you believe in her, not because you're trying to control her. You inspire her because you want to see her shine, not because it benefits your image. This sincerity is what makes your influence powerful. She doesn't just feel attracted to you, she feels grateful to have you in her life. When you are both her safe space and her motivator, you become more than just a partner. You become a catalyst for her becoming the best version of herself. And that is the kind of connection that creates deep, lasting attraction. At the core of making a woman feel deeply drawn to you is not manipulation or playing games. It's about becoming a man of depth, presence, and purpose. When you own your presence, speak with intention, maintain a sense of mystery, stay emotionally grounded, and lead with clarity, you naturally stand out. When you show selective attention, radiate self-mastery, and challenge and inspire her, you create a dynamic where she feels safe yet excited, comfortable yet intrigued. This balance of stability and growth awakens something in her that goes beyond attraction. It creates a pull she can't explain but deeply feels. It's not about doing more for her, but becoming more within yourself. When you live this way, you don't just attract her, you hold her interest and admiration for the long term.